Welcome to Friday, TGIF. It's April 25th, 2025. This podcast brought to you by ConverseCountyTourism.com. Feel the energy of Converse County. Explore Douglas's railroad heritage, Ayers Natural Bridge, and the Jackalope legend, Glen Rockbo's scenic trails, dinosaur history, and small town charm. Plan your visit at ConverseCountyTourism.com. Well, it all depends on where you are. You might be basking in sunshine today and just enjoying life. You might be in a very chilly, very cloudy, drizzly, foggy existence. It all depends on what side of the divide you are. It all depends on upslope or downslope. Upslope east of the divide, downsloping winds west of the divide. So if you're along and east of the divide, especially along and east of the I-25 corridor in the region, you're just going to be in the soup all day today. In fact, the soup is going to probably carry over all the way into Saturday morning as that persistent upslope flow will dominate. So that's going to keep us a cool, wet, drizzly pattern. The thunderstorm activity will be suppressed pretty far south today. The west slope, that's where you're going to be, well, enjoying life a lot better. Now, we have an upper low coming off the California coast, drifting in late in the weekend and into early next week. This will bring another round of unsettled weather into the region Sunday night into Monday and Tuesday. Then another upper low quickly comes in out of Western Canada, comes through Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So this is going to lead to possible heavy snow in the mountains. There is going to be a significant amount of rain and snow for Montana, northern counties of Wyoming, parts of maybe even South Dakota, parts of the Pacific Northwest. It looks very, very wet in those areas. And we could see some very heavy snow, especially the Beartooth, the northern Bighorn Mountains, the mountains of southern and southwest Montana. Late season heavy mountain snow coming to you in those locations. Then as we get into the pattern all in next week, it's just unsettled again. Is there one big storm next week? No, it's little systems coming on through, but keeping things active. Kind of like what you're seeing here in the nice photo of the deer grazing and the thunderstorm off in the distance. A beautiful shot there. Now, contrasting how things went yesterday, this is just a great example of how where you are, what the wind direction is going to do, is going to dictate how your day is going to go. So here's a good shot out of the Black Hills area that got some nice precipitation, but was in the areas east of the divide where air was getting pushed uphill, causing the cloudy, foggy, and some of you rainy pattern. Now, not west of the Continental Divide, but west of the Laramie Range, the contrast between Laramie and Cheyenne yesterday was quite remarkable because a lot of eastern Wyoming looked like this while the sun was out on the west side of the Laramie Range. Why? Because the air comes downhill off the west side of the Laramie Range. Now, Laramie's east of the Continental Divide. But every mountain range has its divide, and that is enough to make a difference. And this is a real good example of what will happen when the sun's out. You get some warming, and you allow the atmosphere to get unstable in the sunnier sky as opposed to the low upslope deck of clouds like this. And what happened, Laramie had two thunderstorms roll through the area that were quite intense. In fact, one yesterday evening that in the airport dropped a half of an inch of rain and some hail, and probably parts of Laramie, we'll have to check the reports, may have gotten more than a half inch of rain very, very quickly because the sun was out, was able to generate that vertical development with thermals, get the atmosphere going, and get those thunderstorms. And then west of the divide yesterday, here's a good, beautiful shot out of northwest Colorado. West of the divide, the sun was out too as well, but these types of clouds, these altocumulus clouds, indicate mid-level moisture that was streaming in and then came over the Continental Divide later in the day yesterday, and that produced again another round of thunderstorms where the sun was out. And this was really true across portions of the Front Range of Colorado and out on the eastern plains of Colorado. The satellite photos this morning show things beautifully. The blue here showing the cool, moist air backed up against the divide, and it goes all the way down into West Texas, where that upslope flow is. West of the divide, you can see the sun will be out here today, but there's the upper level low in California that's going to come in later this weekend, and there it is. The surface front the surface frontal boundary looks a lot like yesterday. In fact, it's almost identical, except the boundary of the front has pushed further south right there. And there's your high. So we're just going to be in the upslope pattern again today. This is why it's going to be very soupy. And there's your precipitable water backed up against the front range areas. So a drizzle, foggy pattern in existence is going to keep things damp. It'll equal 100th or 200th of an inch of water in some areas, but it will certainly be more like Seattle. And there's your temperature anomaly for today. So you can see where the pool, the cool, moist air is stacked up against the high plains the most. So that's going to suppress the thunderstorm activity to back here where the sun will be out in advance of that upper level low into portions of the northern Great Basin. And down here where the sun's going to be able to break out, there will be an area of thunderstorms down here that will move in tonight into Kansas and Oklahoma. So this is going to be an active region of thunderstorm activity, and there you can see it in the Storm Prediction Center thunderstorm threat for today and into this evening. Now by tomorrow, you notice there's still upslope. This is by noon tomorrow. So what will happen tomorrow morning is the soup will still be around overnight into the morning hours of Saturday. Then we start to see the influence of the upper level low off in Northern California pushing desert air in. So you see this area of warmer temperatures. This is the warmer air getting pushed out ahead of the upper level low. So this will push in, bringing us a nice warm up. So over the weekend, it warms up nicely here. It just expect tomorrow morning to still be in the soup east of the divide. This warmer air and the very moist air that's going to reside out here along the boundary, okay, right there, you're going to have some instability, and that's going to lead to some afternoon and evening thunderstorms. So you can see that matches up beautifully. Where the warmer air comes in, we get some heating, but there's still moisture available, and there you're going to get some afternoon and evening thunderstorms, and those will move off to the east Saturday evening and Saturday night, right along that boundary. That's that return flow that we talked about. And you'll see this repeat itself over and over again during spring and throughout the course of the summer after a cold front moves through. And there's your thunderstorm prediction, very general, no concentrated area of severe weather. Sunday, somewhat of a similar situation, but look at this big warm up, big plume. So if you're depressed about the weather today, the weekend will be a lot warmer, a lot more spring-like. But look at the temperature anomaly here in California. Much colder than average below that low along the west coast. The Sierras will see some snow out of this. This is going to lift northeastward, and then what we will see on Sunday afternoon is we still have some of that humidity left behind. Now the air is drier punching in from the west, but there's going to be along this boundary again another line of showers and thunderstorms developing in the heat of the day, and this will continue into the overnight hours of Sunday into Monday morning. So we're hoping that means more thunderstorms for the Panhandle, portions of western areas of South Dakota, maybe for lucky eastern Wyoming. Then that upper level low will produce a little bit more in the way of severe weather on Sunday. So that'll be something to keep an eye on in this north-south region here. Sunday, the thunderstorm activity probably going to be a lot more extensive than some of the forecasts indicate. There's your upper level low by Monday morning, comes right over the region, and that's going to bring in the cold from Canada into Montana and northern Wyoming. There it is. These are the temperature anomalies by Monday. So classic spring, cold today, much warmer for the weekend, much colder by Monday and Tuesday, the back and forth. And then there's going to be a concentration of moisture right up here. There's going to be an axis of moderate to heavy precipitation with that upper level low as it tracks through the region. So look at these rainfall totals in northern Wyoming and southern Montana, then along that North Dakota, South Dakota border area there. So there could be a significant amount of mountain snow right into these areas here. Probably mostly rain on the plains, could be some wet snow as well. There could actually be some flooding concerns right here due to snow melt and the fact that some heavy moisture will be coming on in. There you can see the Beartooth Mountains could see some very heavy snow, the far northern Bighorn Mountains as well, and the mountains of Yellowstone Park. And look at this. This is pretty impressive for this time of year as well. So there's a lot going on. It's springtime in the Rockies. Then behind that wave will be a wave coming in from the northwest on Wednesday. That will drag another front through and that will bring more precipitation chances, especially again to the northern areas where the precipitation opportunities will be the best. Then you see what the temperatures are like behind that front. It's not as cold, but there's going to be a lot of back and forth. And then by next weekend, there's another low sliding into California. So we'll see what happens as we get into next weekend. There's likely something in the western United States to deal with the weekend after this one. Speaking of weekends, have a good one.